Welcome to today's new member orientation. Today we are going to be taking a brief tour around some of the major features here on GuruFocus, starting off here on the home page. Now all of you should at least be relatively familiar with the home page here. Obviously you did find our new member orientations over here, so good job there from the get-go, but there are a couple things that I will highlight here before we do move on. First and foremost, you can customize the layout of your homepage here with the little settings icon in the upper right hand corner. If you do go ahead and click this, any of these little windows that you are seeing here, you can move up and down. You can remove them entirely as well. If you do remove something and you want it back at any point in time, you can go ahead and access it here in the homepage settings. You can go ahead and toggle everything on and off real quickly in one place here as well. Do go ahead and save those changes once you are done, and you will be seeing that homepage kind of set up how you like it. Mine might look a little bit different than yours. Obviously, I have real-time Guru stock picks up in the upper right-hand corner, but you can make it look exactly the way you'd like it. As well, here on the homepage, obviously our articles are kind of first and foremost. If you do find yourself sticking towards a certain author, or you really do like what you're reading from them recently, you can go ahead and click directly into their actual author profile page via their name right here on the home screen. This will let you get quick access to their articles. From here, we are going to move over to navigating the website itself. The general fastest way to do that is going to be via the search bar here in the upper corner. Granted, we do have our drop-down menus here. If you know exactly where you're looking for and where it's at, you can access everything via these drop-down menus as well. Search bar here is going to function similar to Google search or any of your other search functions that you see around the internet, with a few key differences here. So I like to use Apple here for this example. When we do punch in Apple here, obviously we are going to have our drop-down list show up right here in front of us. This list is going to remain in the same order every single time, so there will always be equities up top, gurus towards the middle, and the 5 most recent articles written with that search in it at the bottom here. So where this is going to differ from Google is it's not going to populate, your search is not going to populate the, most popular result here. It is going to go on an alphabetical basis. So if we do go ahead and click enter here with Apple in the search box, we'll give it a moment to load here, but we will see that Appleton Group Wealth Management is going to open because the search box is going to operate on an alphabetical basis. So when we are searching, using the search box here to navigate around the website, if we were to punch in Apple here in this example, my recommendation is to just go ahead and click on the exact result you want out of this drop-down menu here. That's going to be the fastest way to go ahead and navigate around. Just use that drop-down menu at all times just to go ahead and click onto things. The one exception will be here if you are searching for a specific stock page and you do know the stock ticker, so AAPL for Apple here in this case. If you do go ahead and click enter with that in the search box, it will take you directly to that page. Now, the search box can also be used to search for different gurus and a bunch of other things on our website. So say you wanted to look for Buffett, for example, here. Punch him right in, you will see that his guru page is going to show up there right at the top. So you can search for gurus all across all of the gurus that we do track across of our website. As well, we do have some economic indicators you can track. So say you wanted oil prices, for example, go ahead and punch that in, and you'll have a couple different data points that you can take a peek at there. As well, some of our features or individual pages, things like that, can be searched here. So if you wanted to find the Buffett indicator, for example, which we'll take a peek at later here, you can go ahead and punch that in directly here and get quick access to it as well.
But moving on, we're now going to take a look at our stock summary pages. Which are all going to basically be the same unless it's a newer company, and then you may not be able to see it. So first, here you can see that it's arranged by different sections. The financial strength and profitability sections are measures of the quality of the stock, while the valuation section contains measures of whether the stock is a good price for that quality. So Apple is a good quality stock, but its price is a little expensive. basically just looking at these metrics. All right, and we also have some charts available on our site or on the stock summary page. And a majority of our stocks, you can download them and embed them to put like in a PowerPoint or into a Word document, whatever you like, using these download and embed links right down here. But the first chart we're going to look at here is our GF value chart, which is a way we have to, our site has come up with valuing a stock based on its past or its historic ratios, as well as its past performance and future earnings projections. So basically right now, based on these metrics, Apple is significantly overvalued currently. Some other charts we have available are the Peter Lynch chart here, which you can see. If you don't know who Peter Lynch is, he was an very successful investor in like the 1980s. And he developed this method as a way of determining whether he wanted to continue researching a stock or not, if you want to buy it. Basically, he set the price earnings ratio at 15, and if the price fell above that line, like Apple does, then it was overvalued and he wasn't interested in buying it. But if it was below it, he would be more interested in buying the stock. So it was just a way to simplify his research process. Some other charts you will see are in regard to financials, which is kind of provide a financial overview, are the revenue and net income, its cash versus its debt, some cash flow numbers, as well as its return on invested capital versus its weighted average cost of capital. So those are also just some overview charts that we have as well. Next, we're going to take a look. If you'll notice up here at the top, we'll have a bunch of tabs. The next tab over is our 30-year financials tab, and it basically does exactly what it says. It shows its historical numbers over the time. And you'll see first it's arranged by fiscal year, which Apple's fiscal year ends in September, but it's not the case for every company. And then trailing 12-month, and then quarterly on the right-hand side. So that's that information. And you can expand these lines to get some more information about each metric, mostly graphs, but that's helpful. And then you'll see that it's arranged by per share data, and then ratios, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, etc. So this is a really good way to like see how its revenue or net income has grown or changed over time. So that is the 30-year financials page. The next thing we're going to take a look at is the interactive chart, which is also extremely customizable and has a lot of features that we won't be able to cover today. But I would encourage you to come back and play with this a bit on your own time. It defaults with the current share price or hit share price history. But from this column here on the left, you can also add things like revenue, its price earnings ratio, price sales ratio, price book ratio. You can also search for other things up here like earnings per share. And you can add that. And they'll all show up here on the right. You can also, using these, change the date range. As well as you can also change the color of the line. See how these two are similar? The price book ratio, they're the same color basically. So you can change this to be a different color. Let's say red instead. So that's another way it's customizable. You can also save this if you want to see the same information for each stock you go to. You can save this as a default template through here and then hitting this. And there's some other predefined templates that are available on our site already as well. You can also get economic data, like for example, if you want to compare its performance to the S&P 500, you can do that. And again, you can download or embed the chart, and there's some other chart options available here and here. So again, I recommend that you come and spend some time playing with it on your own, because it's a great tool to use. Let's see. Some other tabs that we have are the Guru Trades tab, which basically, as it says, as it implies, gives an overview of the available Guru trade information that we have, starting with like recent transactions and then showing who overall owns the stock and how big their stake is. So you'll see Warren Buffett currently has the largest stake, and how many shares he owns. And if you hit this little graph down here, we'll expand it and give you some more information about it. So that is the overview of the Guru Trades tab. And then the last one we'll take a look at is if you want more information on a specific metric, or you want to see how it's calculated, you can just click on it. You'll see there, notice they'll highlight it in blue, and it'll take you to what we call our definitions page, which there is also, you'll notice, a definitions tab down here, but this is like a shortcut to that specific term. And it will give you an overview, a definition, how it's calculated, some historical information about it. So that's good. And you can also search, while you're here, you can search for other terms like earnings per share, for example. Oops. There we go. So that is our definitions page.
Next, let's take a look at the screener. So GuruFocus offers a variety of screeners for users to utilize. The most commonly used is the all-in-one screener. So this is the fully customizable version that allows users to search for stocks based on a wide variety of different criteria. For example, if you wanted to look for stocks in, say, the financial services industry, you could select that here. And the different criteria are divided by type, so you'll find the fundamental criteria here. Let's see, let's look at stocks with a market cap of at least $1 billion. And then you can sort by valuation ratio here if you want to look for stocks with certain valuation ratios. So for example, you can set a price earnings range and so on. Like the PEG ratio, price to projected free cash flow, price to tangible book value, EV to EBITDA, and so on. You can also look at the profitability criteria, such as the operating margin, if you want to look for only stocks that have a certain at least a certain operating margin. And then growth, this will be things like the earnings per share growth, the asset growth rate, the total revenue growth rate, free cash flow growth rate per share, and so on. And so you can select either a bottom or top limit or a specific range. And then you can also search for things like the dividends if you're a dividend investor. If you're having trouble finding a specific criteria that you're looking for, you can always go to all and go to the search filter box here and begin typing in a keyword, and it will highlight all of the criteria that contain that keyword in a green box. If you're still not finding the criteria you're looking for, it might not be one of the preset ones, in which case you can go over to the customized filters and add a customized filter. For example, if you wanted to use the free cash flow based, this kind of cash flow calculator, this one's not as commonly used as the earnings based one, and so it's not one of the preset criteria, but you can add it through the customized data screening. And so you'll name your filter here, put in your criteria or expression here, the operator greater than, less than, equal to, and so on, and then the value, and hit confirm, and it will create your customized screener. All right. And in addition to the all-in-one screener, there are two different categories of preset screeners. So under the GuruFocus screeners, this is where you'll find the screeners that apply a specific set of criteria to the all-in-one screener. For example, if you click on the high quality, you'll see that it changed the criteria on the all-in-one screener. And so with this, you're able to modify the criteria if you want. So for example, if you wanted to lower your standards for financial strength, or if you only wanted to look for stocks with higher profitability, you could change that. Or you could add in a new criteria. Say you want a stock that is modestly undervalued by the GuruFocus Value Screener. And you could choose that. And the other category of preset screeners is the value screens. So these are screens with a very specific strategy behind them. And so selecting them, you'll see that most of them don't allow for customization of the criteria because they're based on a specific strategy. And to see that strategy, you can click the little question mark here, and it will drop down an explanation of the screener so that you can see what it's about, what reasoning went into making it.
All right, continuing on, we are going to go ahead and take a peek at some of our Guru pages. Before we jump into a specific Guru page, though, just want to highlight a couple of things here real quick. Scoreboard, for example, here will be a great way to go ahead and compare Guru performance over time. You can see their top 10 holdings here as compared based upon that performance percentage here, as well as their fund performances since the last 13F filing here. So great way to go ahead and just kind of get a good competitive comparison here between any of the Gurus you are interested in. As well, once we are in our actual Guru section, we do have some navigation options over here on the left-hand side, just to make it a little bit easier rather than having to swing all the way up to the top of the screen and go ahead and drop down that menu. Next thing we'll go ahead and take a peek at real quick here is going to be our list of Gurus. This will be a full list of all the Gurus that we do track here on our website. Starting off over on the left-hand side is going to be our basic Gurus. These are accessible to everybody, any free users, anything like that, regardless of if you have a premium membership. You can go ahead and view these Gurus here on our website, view their trade information, things like that. Next, over to the right is going to be our premium Gurus. You will see them indicated here with the little yellow P in the upper right-hand corner. Granted, all of our free Gurus are going to show up in here as well. Those ones available under the basic tab. So this is going to be the general place you want to be looking for. Granted, if you are looking for a really specific fund or really small manager or anything like that, we do have our Plus add-on that will get you access to literally thousands more of these small firms, funds, managers, things like that. So if you know that we care, or that we are covering their data, but you can't specifically find it, it may be because they are hanging out here in our Premium Plus section. Now, as well, if you did find yourself sticking to a certain set of gurus, or you wanted to create your own list or start to discover some new gurus, you can create your own My Guru section over here on the far right-hand side of these options. You can go ahead and customize this with the My Gurus drop-down here. Click on that, click on Personalize once more. Over here on the left-hand side, you will have some filtering options, so you can go ahead and sort based upon total value of their portfolio, number of stocks, or even the turnover ratio that their portfolio is seeing. Once you do go ahead and find a couple gurus that you like, or you want to add them in and out of your list, you can go ahead and add them. Left-hand column here is going to be gurus not added to your list already. Right-hand column would be the ones in there, obviously. And you can easily just X them in and out or plus them from the left-hand side over here to create your own customized guru list to get real quick access to them. Now, from here, we'll go ahead and dive into an actual guru portfolio itself. We use Buffett for this case just because we all know him. And first page we're going to land on here is going to be our stock picks. These are going to be all up to date, or as up to date as possible, based upon the data we've been given, stock picks for that given guru. Generally speaking, they will be organized by date here. So it looks like for Buffett here, the last one we have is the fourth quarter of 2020. As we scroll down, you'll see these dates will change going back further in time. Now, you will notice the little clock icon over here on the right-hand side. Those are our real-time picks. If you do remember that little window I had on my homepage, you'll recognize these here. These are going to be anything that the guru owns more than a 5% stake of ownership in. They are going to show up as a real-time pick. That trade information is going to come within a 14-day period, as mandated by the SEC, rather than the 45-day grace period from the end of the quarter. So generally speaking, at the absolute latest, all of these trades for any given guru on our website will update within 45 days of the end of the quarter. Buffett tends to report at the end of things, hence why we don't have his yet, but most of our gurus will report sometime around the middle of that area there. Now, a nice thing here within the stock picks, you'll see this little bar chart icon hanging out next to the stock ticker and the company name. If you do want to get a little bit more information on the trades rather than what you're just seeing here, obviously we do have a lot of information here right up front and foremost for you, but you can go ahead and click on one of these bar chart icons for anything you want here. So we'll go ahead and jump into the Kroger Co. for Buffett here. And this is going to give you a full breakdown on the holding history for them then. You'll be able to see right when that first quarter they bought into it, and then by quarter, granted if there are real-time picks, they'll show up in here as well. This is going to give you that holding history over time, showing you total number of shares bought and sold at any given time, percentage change you are seeing in that holding, quarter end shares, and then even the average price that was paid for those shares or that they were sold for during the quarter given. Down here at the bottom, we will also have a total estimated gain for any of these shares as well. Any of these holdings that you are seeing here, that total estimated gain or loss in some cases will be calculated here. Continuing over to our current portfolio tab, relatively self-explanatory here. These are going to be all of the current holdings for the most up-to-date portfolio that we have. So here is all of Buffett's holdings that he currently has. We'll go ahead and just sort this by weighting, just to make it a little bit more obvious for ourselves where that money is going. And we can see here that he does have the most of his money in Apple currently, with 43.61% weighting in that portfolio. Now, once again, one over to the right is going to be a Profile Performance tab. This will give you a little bit of information on who that guru is, as well as their investing philosophy. As we continue down the page, you'll see their total holding history over time. Generally, this is going to be calculated in billions. This can be adjusted, though, as well, depending on how much money's in that portfolio. One more spot below that is going to be historical allocations of stocks, bonds, and cash. And then finally down here at the bottom, we will have a performance of the given guru or fund, anything like that we are tracking on their guru page by book value compared to the S&P 500 over time. So here you can go back in time and see specific quarters, years, anything like that. When Buffett was doing really good, might have crushed the S&P 500 at any point in time. You can go ahead, check back onto those here. Last little section we'll go ahead and highlight here will be our sector weightings. Once again, relatively self-explanatory here. This is just going to give you a nice little breakdown and a nice pie chart of exactly where Buffett is putting his money.
Okay, so we will now discuss our insider trade pages. So on this page, you have the summary. So the insider summary page includes things like our monthly buy-sell ratio versus the S&P 500 price chart. So this chart shows you that usually when the insider buy-sell ratio is a very high amount, you would see a spike on this chart, and that usually signals that it's a good time to invest in the stock market. So right here, this insider trade page allows you to view the latest insider trades with about a 1 day lag. Other key pages that we have for insiders include the CEO buys, which allows you to look at the buys from the CEOs of the companies. The Chief Financial Officer buys. That's also another page. So the insider cluster buys, the difference between the insider buys and the number of unique insider buys is that insider buys tracks the total number of insider buys, while unique insider buys will track the number of buys from different company directors. For example, this 8 here tells you that 8 different insiders bought shares. We also have other tools like double buys, which allows you to look at the stocks most bought by gurus and insiders, and then triple buys, which allows you to look at the stocks that are bought by gurus, the company, and insiders. And then data export allows you to export insider trades to Excel. And then the trends, it will just show you the insider trends for each sector. So overall, financial services, and then energy, and utilities, and healthcare, industrials, communication, and then materials, etc., etc. Okay, so now on to the market information. So the Buffett indicator will tell you a brief overview of how the market valuation is at a given point in time. So you can scroll down and then you will be able to read more information about how the Buffett Munger indicator is computed. So it's the market cap and the US GDP. And then we have the ratio of the indicator, and then the predicted and actual stock market returns, assuming that the market indicator returns revert to a 20-year median. We also have industry overview pages. So the industry overview pages allows you to look at information from a particular industry. You're going to do like technology, for example. You'll be able to see the sector weightings for technology and average price earnings and other ratios for each of the industry listed in the technology sector. And then the Treasury yield curve. The yield curve, that's going to give you information about the yields for 1 month, 1 year, 2 year, 10 year, and then 30 year. The Schuler PE is another market indicator used to value the market. The Schuler PE is the cyclically weighted earnings. And then there's this excess cyclically adjusted price earnings yield. The Schuler PE. You can read more information about the Schuler PE ratio on this page. We also expanded the Buffett indicator concept to the global markets. So the global stock market valuations, there's Singapore and Spain, and then at least over 20 other countries on this page. And then if you wanted to do modified annual returns, you can just click this button so that the modified annual returns include the total assets of the central bank. And then economic indicator data. You can then click on the economic indicator data to view market indicators like crude oil prices, for example, is a Brent Europe, and then West Texas Intermediate, and other things that you can also do is global prices of corn and other good stuff.
Alrighty, now that we have rounded out our tour of the website, the last thing we'll go ahead and highlight here real quick will be our tutorials section. Here we do have tutorials and webinars, and you can see videos here as well, dating back upwards of a decade at this point in time. This will show you how some of our features have grown over time, and if you are struggling with any features or you want to get a little bit more information on them, this is generally going to be the best place to look. There's for the most part, going to be a full kind of breakdown, whether it be in video or a text-based information, a little tutorial there for you to go ahead and take a peek at. Tons of information here if you really want to learn about the website, learn about different features, things like that, something you might not have used before. This is going to be the key place to do it. As well, if you do have any questions that do pop up at any point in time, do please feel free to go ahead and jump into our support. We do have chat support available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There is a live warm body person there to go ahead and answer your questions. We do the best that we can to get those answered right in the moment. Granted, some of those things we do have to go ahead and pass on to additional departments within the company, things like that. So we might not be able to answer it right up front, but we're going to do the best we can to get you an answer as soon as possible. If you do have a question that might be a little bit more in-depth, you find a bug, you want help from a developer on setting up an API, anything like that, go ahead, jump into a support ticket here, create a support ticket. You can set your exact help topic up here, put your own subject, linked pages, things like that. This is going to be the best place to go ahead and ask those in-depth questions, get a nice in-depth response. Once you do go ahead and submit one of these, you'll get a ticket reference number that you can refer to at any given time to re-access that ticket, and you will get responses directly from whichever department you are reaching out to via email, so that you can get some nice communication going on back and forth there and have any of those in-depth questions answered, I should say. As far as the tour of the website goes, that is going to round things out today. If there are any questions, do please feel free to ask them. If not, we'll go ahead and end things out here.